Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Ask Zak with myself, Zak, and of course my trusted colleague Albert.
Good evening, Zak, and good evening, listeners, and welcome to another session of Ask Zak.
Now, as the subject for tonight is, of course, a very important one, and it's how do we take care of our ruminants now in the winter months that's ahead of us. Now, it's April. We still last weekend we got some rain, so there's quite a few factors still going. But remember, our plants, as soon as the daylight temperature goes down, our plants start to prepare for the winter. And of course, with that, they start drawing their nutrients into their root systems to build up their reserves and make sure they're ready for when the next rains are coming. So very important, when your animals are on the veld, they're not necessarily, it might look good, but they're not going to get all the nutrients that they need. And of course, with the winter months, our veld gets very dry. And then we've got a very high load of dry cellulose that the animal needs to break down and, of course, utilize. Now, we touch on it every time. Very important, make sure you're parasite free. That's we always will say, make sure you're not feeding parasites. Keep your animals clean. But when we look at the nutrition of it, the veld is going down. What are we supposed to do? How do we prepare our animals? And when we hit the winter months, what do we give them to make sure we can carry them through the time?
Yes, Zak. So very important and very informative, Zak. Just to add on what you're saying is that if you are driving around now, and especially on the high veld, you'll see that the grass is turning. This means that our grass has grown in the growing months, in early January, December, produced some seeds, hulle het saad geskiet. They shot these seeds out to fertilize for next year or to seed for next year. And as soon as that happens, the nutrition value goes down. And interesting enough, in a year like this year with abnormal high rainfall, we do actually have a decrease in the quality of your veld. You have higher hemicellulose, higher cellulose, and higher lignin as well in the veld. So this means that you need to make more, you need to depend more on your supplements. Now at Alzu Feeds, we have a wonderful product. Not only is this a good product for building up condition on our ruminants, but it's dual purpose. It actually is triple purpose. It can be used on your sheep, your goats, and on your cattle. I'm talking about the production meal, okay? Production meal is 25% protein. Majority of that is bypass protein. When I refer to bypass protein, this is protein that will bypass that rumen, get absorbed into the small intestine, and build condition quite quickly. If you are farming with your sheep and goats, and you are having an autumn breeding season like now, when the daylight lengths get shorter and the night lengths get longer, our animals get sexually active. If we want to flush feed them 4 weeks before we introduce our rams, great time to put in your production meal. Flush those ewes, they will super ovulate, and you will have an increase not only in your weaning or your birth mass, but also in your conception rate. And that's what we need. We need high conception rate so that we have those lambs falling so we can sell them later on. And with our cattle, we can use the production meal to build up condition. On the high veld, I think we're going to have quite a hectic winter, Zak. I think it's going to be cold, it's going to be tough on our animals. So we need to make sure that our cattle, they are building condition, they're building up that condition for the winter, so that when they go over to the winter lick in the beginning of May, on the end of May, depending on your veld, you know that they are on condition, they're ready for the winter, and you or the animal is not going to pay the effects.
Now, very important, of course, a lot of people in the winter months, when our condition of our veld decreases or the nutrient value of our veld decreases, a lot of people think basically the feed or the licks are a golden bullet that's going to solve all your problems. Remember, when you work with ruminants, of course, your management and your veld management especially is crucial. The animal needs that roughage to be able to feed the rumen, the good bacteria in the stomach, and of course to build condition or just keep their condition. So you can actually write books about it, but your management of your camps and your rest camps and everything like that is crucial for you to be successful, ruminant farmer, cattle, sheep or goats, and of course successfully taking your animals through the winter. Because if there's no roughage, you're going to start paying a lot, because you're going to have to buy in Erogrostis or Tef or whatever you want is available. And of course in the winter months, any of those products of like your grasses, their prices go up. So be very careful. Manage your veld. I think it's one of the things we tell the guys the most. Manage your veld. If you've got good veld, you're already winning. Do not expect the feed to solve all your problems. because it's not. Your animal needs that good roughage.
No, Zak, when it comes to ruminants at Alzu Feeds, we don't have a full feed. We always need to supplement our animals with roughage. We need to make sure that our veld is not overgrazed, and that already starts in January, Zak. It already starts in the summer, where we manage our camps to make sure we've got a camp that we are resting for the winter, or that we've rested the previous year before. If you need information about this, please contact your technical advisor so we can help you with a grazing management system. But if you are grazing on those beautiful lush camps for the winter, for supplementation, you have two options. If you are a sheep and goat farmer, you can go with the beautiful yellow packaged Alzu sheep and goat block. Now, this wonderful product not only gives you protein, but it's also enriched with ammonium chloride. Now, Zak, ammonium chloride prevents kidney stones in our rams, and especially our younger rams. So we want that, especially with our breeding animals, that we don't want any kidney stones causing a problem there, an infection, and could be detrimental effects on your reproduction rate. So please make sure that you are putting out those sheep blocks and making sure your animals are getting what they need. And of course, on the cattle side, Zak, we've got a wonderful winter lick, our winter lick 350, of course, enriched with urea. Now, our urea is basically nitrogen that we give to those microbes in the rumen to break down that cellulose, the hemicellulose, to make the most out of it. So even if you look at the veld and it looks brown, it looks dry, it looks not nutritious, there is nutrition in there. That's what makes our ruminants amazing, that we can benefit from that rumen. Remember, we are feeding the rumen and not only the animal. So your winter lick also comes in a mash form, in a 40-kilogram bag. And then, of course, if you have the other option, is our protein blocks. That will be that beautiful red block that you'll see when you walk into the depot. And of course, that also contains urea. When it comes to any product that contains urea, we need to keep it dry. So please, if you're putting it out in the veld and you do have a freak thunder shower like we do have on the high veld, make sure that you go and cover those leak blocks, or that you have draining holes in the buckets or the tires that you are putting them in. Or if you are using these feeds or these licks under roof, just go and make sure that they stay dry, because urea is very water soluble. If it does go up in the water and the animals take it in, you will have repercussions, and that's the last thing that we want.
So basically, in summing up what we spoke about, first of all, veld management. Make sure there's good roughage available for your animal. If there's not, you're going to have to buy in. Secondly, we're feeding animals, we're not feeding parasites. So make sure your parasites are under control and you've dewormed and dipped all your animals, making sure your animals go into the season with least stress, if I can say it like that. And of course, last but not least, give them the right lick for the right time. You touched on the production lick to prepare them, and of course the winter lick when we eventually go into the winter. So all these products, everything that we talked about except for the grass, is available at your Alzu one-stop shop. So pop in, get the information. We've got very nice booklets that you can read up, see what the intakes are going to be, depending on the species of animals, and of course everything else is there under one roof with the good advice.
And remember, with your licks, keep putting them out. Keep putting them out. Your animals talk to you. If you come back to the depot and you say, yes, those blocks that I bought were polished, please, we've got a salt lick available as well. So when you buy a few blocks, buy a salt lick with it. And Zak, if your oral supplementation is not even enough, we've got the injectables, we've even got the oral dosage, we've got a wide range of products available at the depot for every need, for every animal. Your Bovi Thrive, your cattle and calf one, you've got an Ovi Thrive for lamb and kids and for your adult sheep and goats. So we have that supplements available that you can give every 6 to 8 weeks. But like we like to say, that your animals talk to you, they tell you what they need. So just keep on putting out that licks, administer supplement, oral or injectable supplement every 6 to 8 weeks, and look at your animal's condition. And like Zak said before, if you have any further questions, we are there to help. Our technical advisors are in the field to make sure that any Alzu customer does not struggle.
So from my side, see you next Tuesday and be safe.
Get ready for the winter, because we are